variant strictly. It is the Omicron variant. The Omicron variant of COVID-19 is actually striking at a very terrible pace and moving from the southern Africa, moving northwards. That means when we say northwards, the, countries like Botswana and Namibia, very need to stay very vigilant. Countries like Tanzania, then Uganda, of course, will really need to stay vigilant. As Africans are still on the journey to hit the 50% target of vaccinating their population, we have another variant that has actually stepped its way into it. And this time around, like I said, businesses around the globe can greatly be affected. And starting with the aviation sector, I've mentioned this, with the fact that this one is one of those that has been affected. When we were setting up with the show, I had details from the British Airways suspending routes, the Hong Kong routes, because of the same situation, COVID-19. That is the Omicron variant. And as well as during the weekend, a number of European countries, which the United Kingdom inclusive, suspended people coming from South Africa, Namibia, and the neighboring countries there to get to Europe. And for those, the natives of the United Kingdom that are going there are supposed to first get into a mandatory quarantine before anything else. So you can only imagine the impact of COVID. Now, this is the, if you'll excuse me, this is the fourth wave of COVID that is actually coming through. The third wave, yes, this is the third wave because the Delta variant was the second wave. And for Ugandans, the Delta variant did not leave us the same. We lost a number of key stakeholders in the economy. And not only that, though, we also got issues with how we're supposed to run different situations. But then, COVID coming through, it takes me back to what is happening in Uganda right now. My biggest worry is when I move through town and get to use even the public service vehicles, the taxis, the cabs, whatever, how you can actually call it. The scary part here is the fact that people have forgotten about wearing the masks. People are no longer wearing these masks. And with the new COVID-19 variants, could show immune evasion and enhance transmissibility. That is according to reports and details. That this time around, it is actually worse, you would say, according to medical experts, and people need to stay warned on such a matter. And still with that, if I'm looking at the COVID and trying to bring this story to a Ugandan context, it is worrying for us. This is where we as Ugandans need to step up. We all know what it means whenever COVID steps in, the challenges we encounter when COVID has stepped into this country. People's businesses shatter, the money flow slows down, people are no longer getting the money, and it goes back to you, it goes back to me. How are we following the safety measures? Are we following the standard operating procedures? Oba twabivaako abantu tebakyayambala mask, osobola otuula ku boda ekuleete ku mulimu nga gwa ayambadde mask, oboda omugamba kagamba wa nze ennaku zino nange COVID ndaba yagwamu mu ggwanga. So you get that. The masks, it is worrying that this time round, the people in the corporate offices are even more following these SOPs than the people in downtown. So jakwekanga nga abantu batono nnyo kati abakya sanitizinga. Very few Ugandans are actually wearing these masks. Very few Ugandans are maintaining the social distancing. I think these issues have only stayed in areas of, in only malls. I would like to actually applaud the security personnel on different arcades and different, not arcades, non-arcades, different people actually on a different, yes, shopping malls, because the arcades, it's a different scenario. If we are to just show you a footage of what is happening on arcades, anyone can just move in easily. With the fact that the country was actually in a security threat, first security threat, you could only imagine what it means. So that is it. And at the end of it all, we are looking at a scenario whereby we are forgetting what we need to do. Back in the day, first lockdown, tetwakitwala serious. Second lockdown, abantu ne bafaayo. Kati mask bazivuddeko, sanitizing bazivuddeko. Edda ng'oyingira taxi bakubuuza mask eriwa, tebakyabuuza. Baba ne sanitizer conductor, tebakyagira. The taxis back then, they actually used to fit in only 7 halfway of the passengers. But now, since the traffic officers do not stop most of them, or because of the fact that people feel like they need to get more money, so we are now prioritizing money first before COVID. Prioritizing the money may not be a problem, but now life. Health matters it is very vital for us to identify this. So if you look at the issue here, what do we need to do to understand that whenever this variant, I'm looking at the entertainment sector here, we have people who are violating the presidential guidelines. When you're taking a point, you're giving out a point to someone, there's always a person viewing, and he or she knows that in the evening he will be going to a bar or something. So look at this. But mind about your life sometimes. Because sometimes you look at a scenario whereby I would say, government most of the people politic these issues, government, but then some of you are already performing illegally. So that means government. But anyway, away from that still, across the globe, why I've mentioned this idea is that we are forgetting the fact that our life is very vital and important. And once your life is very important, you need to understand the narrative of how you're going to run it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's try our level best to push for greatness. Let's just try our level best to see that whenever we are working, COVID is real. Most countries are now getting back to the quarantining situation. And I wouldn't want to call for a lockdown. And I hope it does not even return, because we all know the effects of the lockdown. It affects everybody. The cost of living gets reaches a point when it is too high. Look at the education sector. The children's future is out there, and we don't even know what we're going to do with COVID. So try to think about something of this nature, that before you deal in any activity with what is happening on the international scene, before this variant attacks us, which is the Omicron variant, I'll get the name right with time to time. Let's get to put this at the back of our minds. Nti kitandika nange ate kisoboka nti gwe noli kimukwatako. Away from the COVID situation, as I'm summing this up, I would like to give you a very simple, just to remind you a little bit. Nti ebiseera ebisinga Abaganda balina olugero lugamba nti eriiso ly'omukulu ewadugala weewalaba. Obulamu buno buli trick ennyo olw'ensonga nti ffenna bulina engeri gye butuvugamu. Omu bumuvuga speed nnyo, bulala ne bumuvuga mpola mpola. Naye ky'olina omanya gwe ng'omuntu nti otyanga nnyo kitaawo ne nnyoko ekintu ekyo mwekiri ne mu Bible olw'ensonga nti oli wanagamba nti otyanga nnyo kitaawo ne nnyoko you give them the respect that they deserve and also ekirala ekiri important mu nsi kwe kumanya nti omuntu omukulu wagambanga ekintu waliwo obuzibu bwe tulina nti abaana abato abali ewaka eyo mu myaka kati gye balimu olw'ensonga nti oba otandise ofuna ku ssente okoze woli wako olaba okuze oli mu adolescence muzaddeyo n'abaako kyagamba ekintu ng'alaba kigenda kwonoonerera future muwulirizenga nnyo because they have seen it all, they have been through your life, they've been through that stage. Omuntu alina emyaka 5 kiba kigeza ayitako mu myaka 2 ojja lowooza generation zikyuka naye embeera gye weeyisaamu yagyeyisaamuko naye generation ekyukidde ku smartphone ndowooza na technology aliwo naye characters have been depicted greatly by age. It is only decisions that have been affected by the generation, rather by the technology. But anyway, remember to respect them. Ate ofaayo nnyo ku kye bagamba. I'm just wishing everyone a good week ahead. Meanwhile, and tomorrow we shall be flagging off November, saying hello December. I hope you're setting your goals ready for December. As the new month is kicking off, get your pen, get your notes ready, write down something and say before the year ends, this is what I'm supposed to achieve by the end of it all. On 1st January 2021, you wrote something that you wanted to achieve. If it did fail, you can write something down for December that can actually head to January and know that by the end of 2022, you have achieved something. It is all that you need to know. New week, new resolutions, new goals, new mindset, new lessons, new ideas to get on board. New month heading December. Back in the day, it was filled with festivities. This time around, it's changing. And I hope we can pick something. To the business community, let's continue driving business. Smart means business. Get to know information fast. I'm Joram Paul Sonko. Get me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Joram Paul Sonko. Meanwhile, do remember to follow on Facebook, Smart24 TV, Twitter at Smart24 TV. And the website is www.smart24tv.com. On YouTube, meanwhile, remember we're on the journey to 400 subscribers. Please do subscribe as well. And of course, do remember that after the break, we get into Yugi to Kole with Fred Makubia, giving you all the details in regards to news stories. Era wana kuvugiramu ne stories kwatagana ku muntu wa wansi nazeta nazikuba. But as for now, Smart means business does end, and it's a goodbye.